Everyone, I'm Rachel Harms, and this is my presentation on my ethical dilemma over self-determination. I'm currently fulfilling my internship at a 28-day residential treatment facility for substance use and co-occurring mental health. Most of our clients who come into the facility are usually detoxing from substances and are okay with being in treatment during the detoxification phase. However, it's not uncommon that once clients have made it through detoxification, they are feeling better and want to leave treatment. It's not unusual to have several clients wanting to leave the facility after a few short days of treatment despite recommendations from the treatment staff. As social workers, we respect the client's right to self-determination and believe that clients have the right to make informed decisions about their own lives, circumstances, and treatment. However, when trying to balance autonomy, safety, and well-being for clients who struggle with substance use disorder and mental health, following the code of ethics for self-determination is where the ethical dilemma lies. We have one client in particular who struggles with wanting to remain at the treatment facility and wants to leave every 3 to 4 days. For the sake of this presentation and to maintain confidentiality, we will call this client Jill. Jill is 21 years old and has significant addiction to fentanyl. She suffers from extreme anxiety and depression, and she has experienced some childhood trauma and was diagnosed with bipolar and manic depressive episodes 6 months before entering treatment. She struggles to maintain her psychiatric care when she is engaged in substance use, which continues to impact her ability to function in social settings and has major impacts on her overall well-being. Jill has had past suicidal ideation when she was a teenager, but has not had any recent instances of self-harm or suicidal ideation. She has a 3-year-old daughter who is currently in the state's custody. She is facing legal and limited support and resources as her family relationships are strained. Jill is currently engaged to her boyfriend, who also engages in substance use and tends to verbally and physically abuse her when he uses. She struggles to understand the safety concerns regarding her current relationship and reports when her fiance isn't using. He's a great guy. She recently lost her job and has no source of income. Her parents are not open to having her move in with them at this time, and she has been living with her fiance and his parents, who also engage in substance use. This is Jill's second time in a rehabilitation program. She struggles to understand her triggers, she lacks insight when it comes to implementing appropriate coping skills, and has limited ability to understand how her substance use puts her at risk for further relapse. Jill used to attend church and was very religious when she was younger. She occasionally talks about getting re-engaged in her religion, but reports she is ashamed as she has been disconnected from her religious affiliation for some time now and feels she will be judged upon her return. She grew up in a home where her parents were successful, well off, and held a higher status within the community. Her parents engaged in substance use when Jill was growing up and often drank during social events and outings. Jill's parents struggle to understand why she struggles with substance use and why she just can't stop. Jill reports that she was often neglected due to her parents working all the time to afford materialistic things and to maintain her status within the community. Jill struggles with court and legal issues, child protection. She is unemployed. She struggles with family, her fiance, and her daughter. You can see throughout the eco map that most of her outside supports and social systems, most of them are strained. She does have a couple good friends, and she feels that she has a good relationship with her fiance, but there are concerns there. And she does love her daughter and support her, and her daughter loves her, but again, it's strained due to CPS. The ethical dilemma. If Jill leaves treatment, she runs the risk of relapse, increased use, potential overdose, and possible death. Her quality of life will most likely diminish over time concerning her physical and mental health. Jill runs the risk of putting herself back into risky situations and behaviors upon her return home to her fiance. She also risks losing her daughter, continued strain on her relationships with her family and friends, and a potential for increased legal issues. However, if Jill stays in treatment against her will, she might lose her sense of autonomy and feel pressure to remain in care. This may cause Jill to not want to engage in treatment, which wouldn't be beneficial to her recovery, and this could be disruptive to other residents at the facility, or this could cause Jill to isolate. Jill might also lose trust in the staff, resulting in damaged relationships with those who provide her care during treatment. This could be detrimental to her overall physical and mental health if she does not feel she can trust the treatment team to inform them when she is not feeling well, having a manic depressive episode, or if she is having thoughts of self-harm. The ethical dilemma is one that comes and goes. Jill will say she wants to leave, and then she will meet and work through everything, and then she will have a phone call with her fiance, and then the cycle and her wanting to leave starts all over again. I am biased in the sense that I want Jill to remain in treatment as I feel that this is what is best for her and her daughter so she can get back on her feet and be readily present and available for herself and her child. I always want what's best for my clients, and I think this would be the best outcome. The process by which I have assessed my own biases, I have had ongoing discussions with colleagues, the lead counselor, the clinical director, along with my supervisor to discuss how I feel about this particular client and her decision to leave residential treatment early. When it comes to ethical decision making, there are two major theories: ethical absolutism and ethical relativism. Absolutism has fixed morals, perspective of right and wrong. Rules are formulated that should be followed, but there are certain situations where rules are not implemented but still exist, and fulfilling one's obligation has a greater priority than weighing the consequences of actions. Ethical relativism rejects fixed moral rules that justify ethical decisions based on the context or situation, so they weigh the risk and benefits, and an option is chosen on what will produce the greater good or or that it will be rejected because the result is not wanted. What is morally right or wrong varies from person to person and society. In this particular case, I will be using ethical relativism. The rationale for using this theory is that clients, including Jill, will have a choice to remain in treatment or not. Utilizing ethical relativism encourages workers and clients to explore reasons underlying their beliefs that differ from our own. By questioning assumptions, we can better understand the complexities of self-determination and tailor its implementation to specific contexts. Implementing self-determination requires one to be self-aware. Ethical relativism prompts us to examine the reasons for our beliefs and values. Reflecting on our biases and assumptions helps ensure a more inclusive and respectful approach to self-determination. And this method will allow Jill to make the best decision regarding her treatment, to look over the costs and benefits, and to weigh the pros and cons that might result in her leaving treatment. This also was selected as what I think is morally right or wrong might not be the same for Jill, and she might decide to make a different choice, which will allow for her and I to be able to share our viewpoints in the hopes of coming to a consensus of what the best outcome might be. The ethical principles that are in conflict are protection of life, social justice, self-determination, autonomy, and freedom, the least amount of harm, the quality of life, truthfulness and full disclosure, dignity and worth of the person, importance of human relationships, integrity, and competence. Some of the facility policies that have a positive and or negative impact on clients and the right to self-determination is the fact that the facility has the right to hold on to a client's personal belongings for up to 72 hours. This can impact clients in the positive sense in that it helps deter clients from leaving the facility early prior to their 28 days. However, it can also negatively impact clients who choose to leave the facility prior to the 28 days, as our clients are usually living in a vulnerable state. So just after detoxing, they typically don't have an adequate source of income, housing, or a way to get their basic needs met, resulting in clients potentially engaging in further risky behaviors to acquire money and or appropriate clothing or belongings that they left behind at the facility. This is very much a potential risk for Jill. In the United States, there are no specific federal laws that prohibit adults from leaving substance abuse treatment. However, there are 35 states and the District of Columbia that have laws authorizing involuntary rehab, called as Ricky's Law, or officially known as the Involuntary Treatment Act, which allows people to be held involuntarily if they are going to be a serious risk for harm due to substance use. But Idaho is not one of these. We do have naloxone, which you can go ahead and get at community centers or from your pharmacy, typically free of charge. So that is a policy that would potentially benefit Jill in the event that she left treatment and needed to be revived for whatever reason. We'll be using a general decision-making model. This model was chosen because the model closely follows the policies and procedures of the treatment center whenever we have a client wishing to be discharged before the 28 days. We weigh the pros and the cons and evaluate measures by having the client complete a cost and benefits analysis sheet, and the outcomes are based on if the client decides to remain in treatment or not. The theoretical framework I chose is the rational choice theory, which uses individuals' perceptions of costs, risks, and benefits to explain their choices and behaviors. According to this theory, every individual will make rational decisions based on the information they have available and their understanding of the factors that affect them. And that's why we do the cost and benefit analysis with our clients. According to the rational choice theory, this holds true even if for choices that might seem less rational from the outside because they are based on the individual's assessment and factors involved. Moving forward as a professional, I will continue to engage in cultural humility so I can recognize my own biases and engage in self-correction if and when needed. I will check in with supervision and reflect often on my own beliefs and values. I will also engage in continuing education. I will continue to seek feedback from my clients, my peers, supervisors, and colleagues, and I will work on continuing to be open-minded so when ethical dilemmas do arise, I can go ahead and address them accordingly. This concludes our presentation. Thank you.